Action.
Okay, here is our finished sleeve. So all that's left to do is basically set the buttons on the bottom part, and then the hem has to be blind stitched in here, and this is for the muck lapel. So it's about an inch overlap, and you know, you can put a pin there or not, but here is the finished cap. Instead of the gathering stitches, we attached a sleeve heading, kind of like a bias strip, and eased the fullness into that between our notches, the back notches and the front notches. So right now we're just going to find the right armhole. The sleeve will tell you that this is the back and this is the front, and also your notches will tell you. This sleeve is absolutely necessary that you know that you have all your notches, because it doesn't line up by seams, or it doesn't line up by the seams. If you pin it by the seams, it's going to be wrong. They kind of offset each other. So here you find your underarm point, then you can sort of flip it into the inside. Sleeves are always sewn on the inner curve, never on the outer. So now I find my shoulder point. Okay, there it is. And you want to put that. And then you find your notches. See, like here's your front notch. And then see how they offset each other. They don't line up with each other. They're different. And that's why it's so important that you have your notches visible. Because if you don't, you know, there's a slight shift in that sleeve, and so I'm finding my two in the back. This is the easiest way to pin a sleeve. You always find your notches and your underarm point. There's no ease in the lower part, only in the upper part. And these kind of sleeves don't really have all that much. So see, it pretty much, because you pull that bias strip, you just have to line up your seams. And now when I sew this sleeve in, I go by a ½ inch, and usually your stay stitch that you did when you were pulling your bias strip should be on the ½ inch mark. So then if you sew right in front of that, you don't have to worry about pulling any out. But if it's not even, then you should go by a ½ inch. Depends on how you set yourself up. And you want to put your pins always kind of vertical, because they lay down easier. If you pin this way, you take up too much space and it's not flexible. You cannot sew over it. This way you have more room to make adjustments, especially with this easing. But you want to make sure they line up, because otherwise, if you use a different seam, then it won't hang right. You cannot end up pushing this out like that or something. They have to be on the same level. Okay, after you got that set up, then just come on over here, and you start at the underarm point, because it's a sleeve and it's a circle. Do I need to backstitch when I start?
No.
No, you don't, because you're going to end up in the same place you started out. So line yourself up with your 1/2 inch point, and can you see then?
Yeah.
All right, and 2.5 stitch. Keep watching though what's underneath when you sew. Line up that 1/2 inch. Now you are going to sew that bias strip in there at the same time. See, that bias strip stays in there. It helps to make the sleeve hang nice. It gives it that nice little round shoulder. Just watch your bubbles and stuff. Now I'm trying to stay left of that, you know, you make adjustments as you go along. If you have to. I'm trying to stay on my stay stitch here. Just left of it. So this is not really complicated. So you just keep turning it with you. Okay. And each time I take a pin out, I go back and make sure everything lines up. Now, if any of my little stay stitches show up on the right side, I'm going to pull them out. Okay, make sure these seams stay open. And when you come back to the beginning, you just overlap and okay, now to the finish, let me just show real quick how to press.
Can I have my green scissors back?
Yeah, I don't need them. I don't know how they got there. Okay, follow me. Now, guys, you gotta look at this because this is really important. It's real important. Oh, how did that happen? Okay. You cannot put your weight on everything.
I didn't sit on it.
When you press a sleeve, you have to press it from the inner curve. So basically, you can you come so you can look in here? You press it from the inside, just about an inch in. And you try to get rid of all the bubbles. You see, you bring it in and you just work this seam area. And you just keep turning it and you just kind of try to get rid of the bubbles. Kind of, you know, let them shrink in there. See, you're trying to shrink them away. Try to shrink them away. Okay, and then, may I have a scissor real quick? Between the armhole, in the armhole, and this is also true for your line.